Welcome to a new season of We'll Throw the After Party. It's been far too long since we've all been together, and yet another night is here where we are not all together. Alexis will be back next week, but Sly, Marissa, I'm so excited to be back with you this evening. Are we in the right spaces? I don't think we are. Let's just fix that live. We all know I can't have a conversation with you unless you're in the right boxes on your screen. How have we been? It's been a few weeks since we've gotten together to throw a little after party. I know we've been watching, reading a lot. Sly, you're already back doing all of the shows that you do. This is yet another re-entry for you into 2023. How have you gotten any rest? Have you been throwing your own after parties without us?
I have been adding way more to my plate than I probably should. Yes. I applied for a research grant thing that I thought would start with the end of my quarter. It started as a semester thing, so I'm doing that and my typical school stuff right now at the same time. It's great. Plus all the other shows, of course. We had the return of MC University, which was a blast. Point in Progress going strong. And of course, Thirsty Thursday with the one and only JJ has been a blast. I'm so excited to add this back to my roster. I've missed your lovely faces, and I have so many exciting things to talk about today, and I can't wait to get to them.
If you're not tuning into Thirsty Thursday, you're really missing out on some of the best conversations that happen every week. I know that when my Thirsty Thursday timer goes off, I'm like, where are they? I was so sad to miss it last week, but we're back now. Marissa, you're in the land of all of the dreams and cardigans. What's going on with you?
Yeah, I'm California dreaming. Also, to quote my you say I'm in an LA mood. I hopped off the plane at LAX. There's all kinds of lyric references.
California dreaming.
I'm in, California girls, all of that. Yes, I'm in Los Angeles for the weekend, visiting my brother.
We love a brother moment. We love a brother moment.
I'm sure there will be a sneak pass by at some point in the evening. But yeah, I've been busy living life, really branching out and diversifying the media that I've been consuming, as you will soon see. Been taking a lot of risks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is full sarcasm. Can't wait to talk about it.
Meanwhile, I'd like to add, I actually have been, and we will get into it, I have found myself down the rabbit hole of numerous shows that are outside of my usual viewing habits, but I cannot seem to get out of them. So I'm starting to finally have a bit of diversification in what I'm watching every week, which means I have more things to talk about that no one can relate to on this show, which is, hey, it means I get to tell you all the plots of things without any context, which is super fun. It is Ant-Man weekend, correct? Quantumania is here. As usual on our show, we give everyone a week to catch the film before we break it down. So next week, we will talk all about Ant-Man and everything that Phase 5 means for the MCU. But we do have a big MCU conversation taking place this evening, so stay tuned for that in the next hour. We're going to talk about some exciting drops from Marvel that are kind of flying under the radar that we think deserve a little bit more love on the main stage. And then we also should talk about the Marvels, which put out their incredible poster this week. Maybe we'll get to that as we're sprinkling through our MCU conversation. Sly, I know that was a big moment for you. I'm really glad that you made it through that reveal.
Thank you. You know, there was some joy, some elation, a little bit of heartbreak, some relief, just a lot of mixed emotions with
it was just a poster.
Reveal.
We didn't even get the trailers.
Listen, one thing about me is I am a Captain Marvel stan first and foremost, and a person second. So
it's true. Listen, we know you first and foremost as the defender of Carol Danvers. That is your official title on this show, right before Senator Sly of Naboo, which I'm so glad has made it through many episodes. This is now it's become such a deep cut into the lore of Both of the After Party. I can't even remember what episode number it was that we did that episode, but you can go back and rewatch it if you missed our conversation on Clone Wars. But we have a lot to dig into. It's been a few weeks since we've had a chance to catch up. So why don't we start by talking about all the things we've been enjoying over the past 2 months, 7 weeks, 6 weeks?
Yeah, like since Christmas.
Since Christmas. We've been reading, watching, playing, all the different things. So let's start with Sly's favorite category, which is what we've been playing over the last few weeks. I'll kick this one off because my list is very short. If you know me, you know that I'm a little bit addicted to Candy Crush, just like every good Facebook mom is. So let me tell you, I was playing it right before the show. I just opened a little treasure chest and got a bunch of new boosters. Very exciting. And I am so pleased to reveal that I am on level 1,443.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm also playing this new like live simulation game called Liz Needs to Clean Her House, and it's really not going well for me. I just keep having to restart. So I'll let you know if I get any progress on that front. But that's really all I've been playing. Marissa, what about you?
Up until about what time is it now? So probably like 18 hours ago. I had nothing to say for this. I had not played any games, including like even like the solitaire app. But I played one round of Mario Party last night. Came in last place consistently, as I always do. But I wanted to tell you what I've been baking, because I don't play video games, but I do bake. So I've baked some dark chocolate pecan scones. Basically the same thing. Dark chocolate pecan scones, which were delicious. I make them pretty often. And then recently, just like this last week, I made sugar cookies that I like made from scratch and decorated myself, and a full red velvet cake with cream cheese frosting that I made and decorated myself. And you can see pictures of those on my Twitter.
We love. Still offended that none of us have tried your baking, but I'll blame it on the distance.
Yeah. There have been several times where I'm like thinking about doing the show and I'm like, oh, I can bring them my scones. No, it's through a computer. Can't.
No way to hand it through the screen. It's not going to happen this time. Maybe someday if we get a set, you can bring us baked goods on set. I love it.
Stay tuned in 5 years when we're in our studio era.
When we're in our studio era. Honestly, my dream. Sly, you've been having some success organizing a D&D campaign, which is something that you've hinted towards many times on this show.
Success may not be the word yet. I've been doing some heavy planning and some extensive prep for bullying my friends into a D&D campaign. A couple of friends of the show, a good friend from college seem interested. I have this world that's just been floating around in my head that's finally I'm like taking steps to fully outline it to create a space for them to explore in, and I'm just so excited. It's a table of 5, but 2 people are brand new, have never done a tabletop RPG, and I eat that shit up. I'm so excited. So yeah, this is your reminder that tabletop games are fun and more people should be playing them, and you can play them with your friends and have great times. But the biggest thing that happened this past week or so is I got a review copy for a little game called Birth. It's made by Madison Carr, who's a solo developer based in Chicago. And I did my first ever video game video review that posted yesterday, the 17th, on Point in Progress. It's just under 5 minutes, so very watchable. Please, please, please go check that out. Show it some love. I'm just so happy to have gotten the chance to do that, especially with this game. My background is a still from the game. It's such a beautiful hand-drawn puzzle game. But yeah, go check out all of my thoughts, my extensive thoughts in that review video.
It turned out so good.
Thank you.
We are so proud. We are so
Yeah.
Producer Sly era. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Perhaps with that, we should play one of our favorite intro games of the show, which is how many liquids you have on your desk. Would anybody like to out themselves? I have 4.
I'm failing. I only have 1.
Oh, well, I have enough for all. This is as many
Thank
as I can hold at one time.
I am claiming 2.5
Mhm.
because since I sat down to prep for the show, I've had 3 beverages past my desk. 1 has already been retired.
Right.
So
I think that counts. We've got a lot coming up over the next 2 hours that we're going to be recapping what we've been enjoying over the past few weeks. And then as you can see at the bottom of your screen, we're going to dig into this amazing start to Phase 5 with Marvel, but not with the show or movie you think that we're talking about. We're going to give you our rants of the week, which really are rants that are long overdue. Some of us have been sweating over this rant for a minute, so that's coming up in the next 20 minutes here. We're also going to be talking about award season and breaking down our predictions for what's to come over the next few weeks with all of you building the infamous We'll Throw the After Party bingo card. So stay in the comments for that one because you need to help us finish that off. But before we get there, let's talk about some more of what we've been enjoying over the past 2 weeks. I know we've all taken this time to try and consume as much as we can or work as much as we can for those of us that can't fucking relax. Reading. What have we been reading over the past few weeks? I can't exactly out what I've been reading in case something really exciting happens, but I did pick up a book that I certainly have opinions on that I cannot reveal at this time, but I've been frantically trying to do iPad reading on flights and trains and cars to get this book done in the hopes that it might turn into something very exciting. So that's what I've been reading, not to leave everyone on a little cliffhanger, but yeah, your girl's been reading more than fan fiction. Everyone can give me a round of tacos for that one. Very proud of it. Sly, what have you been up to?
all right. A lot of these are JJ centric. If you're not coming to Thirsty Thursday, you're missing out on some great conversations. JJ forced me to read the one comic, Trek Please. It was incredible. I had so many feelings. If you haven't checked it out, all I'm telling you is it's college hockey because that's all I knew going in. And you have to experience it the same way I did because I lost my goddamn mind reading it. It's so good. Then I'm trying to continue my read/reread of the Riordan verse. I read the first and second series a while back, and then I tried to get into Kane Chronicles multiple times, but I couldn't get past the first book because I had read it previously, and so I kept getting like caught in my own head of being like, oh, I've already read this, and it was kind of giving me a mental block on finishing it. And then JJ was like, I fucking adore the Kane Chronicles. And then I started reading it because JJ was like, you gotta do it. And we discovered that we are the 2 Kane siblings personified. So, that helped. And then another very, very exciting thing I got a couple weeks ago is I got my first ever ARC advanced reader copy of a book. So I got a copy of, it's gonna green screen out, isn't it? Give Me a Sign by Anna Sortino. It's so good. It's YA story about a girl with hearing loss who, for the summer before her senior year, decides to go back to a deaf camp that she attended a couple times growing up as a junior counselor. And her experience throughout the summer, it is so good. It made me cry like 5 times, all for different feelings: good cry, sad cry, emotional, all of the above. Just so beautifully done and so authentic. And just seeing deaf people tell deaf stories is so beautiful. But also, it's super approachable for hearing folks. Like, this isn't a story for deaf people, it's a story for teens and everybody who can get something out of a fun camp story. It was really exciting for me because, I also worked as a camp counselor. I was a lifeguard for a bunch of things, and just like all of these threads tying me to this book just connected in such a special way. So this is out. I have to double check the page. It's on sale July 11th, 2023 this year, but it is on pre-order. You can go pre-order it right now. And I 100% recommend this book to absolutely anybody. It was just so delicious.
Well, now I need to read it. And we have to wait till July? So rude. So rude. But you know what? With your recommendation, I will wait. I will wait for it to come out.
I was expecting it to be like April or something.
Right? We've waited a whole season.
Far away.
So
I'll be hyping it up as the months go, as we get closer to release, because I really truly adore absolutely everything about this book. But yeah, I wanted to mention it because I did get it while we were on our hiatus, and I just consumed it so quickly. I read it all in like basically one sitting. It was just took over my life.
Love it. So happy for you. I love a read like that. That especially when it comes to this show, I love when we find a book to read like that is not just fan fiction. That makes me even happier. So thrilled for you, Sly. Thrilled for you.
Oop. Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's all good. Marissa, what have you been reading?
Fan fiction.
Yeah.
That's it.
Woohoo!
That's it. I mean, I read it every day on my commute to work. I read it the entire flight here yesterday. I carry with me in my bag everywhere I go The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I have not made it past the first chapter because I've been reading fan fiction. So that's the whole answer, unfortunately.
That's okay. It's, you know what? We have all been there. You have to go directly to Twitch to do that. Sly, we can't do that from the stream. You know what? AO3 honestly deserves all the like praise for everything they're doing to keep that site up and running. They had a few times over the break.
Oh, it was trying times.
Like it was trying times. Like every day you'd sit down and like the website would just crash in the palm of your hand. So we are now, I think all of us, thanks to Sly's amazing tutorial a few months back, downloading at lightning speed everything we want to read. So when the site goes down, we are not left stranded on an island without our fix.
I just want to say this is a great time to remind everybody that it is so beautiful that more people are discovering AO3, that more people are talking about fan fiction openly and honestly and enjoying it and consuming it. And that does create so much of a toll on their servers, which is a great time to remind everybody, go donate to the Organization for Transformative Works. So you can pay the people who are doing all the work to restore it as soon as possible for you so that they can, support their servers, keep paying for that, and upgrade their servers so it goes down less often. If you have ever been heartbroken by AO3 going down while you're in the middle of a fic, go donate to the Organization for Transformative Works. They're doing incredible work and we love them. Go support them.
Absolutely worth the plug. Absolutely worth the plug. Let's turn our gaze away from reading and talk about what we've been watching. I'll start first with this one. I've been, as I mentioned at the top of the show, been watching some new shows, which again deserves a round of applause considering for like a month straight on this show, I would regularly show up being like, I didn't watch anything. I simply cried and worked and did not do anything. But guess who's been enjoying TV again and movies? I have. So I have been watching, and I cannot believe I'm admitting this, but I'm so into it. FBI. Shout out Mama C, who got me hooked on FBI over the holiday break, and now I have to tune in every week. I need to know what's happening. It's so good. Yeah, really enjoying FBI. FBI International, not as into it, but FBI, I'm into it. I'm into it.
How do we turn this into the FBI to 911 pipeline?
It's close. We're getting there, right? I had the same thought. We're getting into the right universe. Speaking of 911 Lone Star. For those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, when I was traveling over the past month, I saw 911 Lone Star billboards everywhere I went. Like the volume of promotion happening in downtown Toronto for 911 Lone Star needs to be studied. Like what is the reason to have Rob Lowe's face on every bus stop? I was staying a 10-minute walk from my office in Toronto and past 11.
Oh my God.
11.
Yeah. I got a video of a good chunk of them.
I don't know when this was happening, but I had no idea about this. Wow.
So shout out Toronto, where I need to know what like vice grip Lone Star is having on like downtown Toronto folks, but there's something there. Slides, it's proving the case that maybe you are Canadian. I don't know. But yeah, I'll post some of the evidence on my Instagram after the show for those of you that may have missed it. But Canada's truly Rob Lowe land, I guess, which made the photoshopping of his head onto the new promo image so much worse because it was just everywhere I looked. Like, anyway, putting that aside, I've also been watching Shrinking on Apple TV with Jason Segel, which is phenomenal. It's so good. If you're missing Ted Lasso, which is coming down the pipeline, try Shrinking. It's like very much the same kind of pacing. I've been watching The Last of Us like everyone else on Twitter and having nightmares over those zombies, just like everybody else, every Sunday night. Like tune in to watch the show and then immediately have nightmares for the next 6 to 8 hours. It's really good, really healthy. But God, Pedro is a saint. Did we all watch him on SNL? Marissa, I know you were watching that episode. I have a bold prediction. Would you like to hear it?
Please.
Absolutely.
I think that Pedro's going to get an Emmy nom.
Oh,
hosting
it's like
SNL.
the best episode of SNL I've seen in a long time. It was really,
In
really
years.
good. Yeah.
I think he might win.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. And this was after, I would say, a couple episodes that have been the best SNL episodes in recent memory. You had the Jack Harlow episode, which was fantastic. You had Austin Butler with the Cecily Strong Goodbye episode, which was also phenomenal. But Pedro, whoo, on another level. It was so good. And finally, I watched the movie that Dave Franco and Allison Brie did together, Somebody I Used to Know, on Prime Video. And it was surprisingly really good. I would go so far as to say it was the best kind of Valentine's rom-com release that we got of all of those rom-coms that came out over the past 2 weeks. It was far from a perfect movie. The pacing in the last act was a little bit too slow for my preference, but the setup is just so clever and the portrayals are so fun. And if you're a Community fan, you get a little, dark hole in your heart filled. So I enjoyed it. More commentary on my letterbox if you'd like to see. But that's what I've been watching. I'm so happy to talk about things for a change on the show, not just be like, I haven't watched anything except what I'm required to in order to be conversation here. Sly, what have you been watching other than some of the obvious picks that we know you've been watching?
Yeah.
Which is not to say you can't talk about it here, but I know you've also been branching out slightly.
Yeah, I will say I made this comment on Twitter and I stand by it. I cannot wait for somebody to go through and make a edit of 911 Lone Star seasons 3 and 4 and just cut every single Rob Lowe storyline. I will eat that shit up. I cannot wait. If you want to know any of my thoughts about 911, I have a whole show for that. This is like the 5th Thirsty Thursday plug I've done this episode. It's one of my favorite shows I do. But besides that, I watch Gilded Age. We all know I'm a huge Downton fan. I'm obsessed. I love Downton, that whole universe, etc., etc. I wanted something I could watch that I didn't have to have any critical thoughts on. And so I watched Gilded Age. I think it's good. It's not great. And the one thing it's missing, I think, that makes it not on the level of Downton is there's not enough likable characters. Like, there's strong characters, there's compelling characters. They're just not likable. And I think that's really to its detriment. The other thing I watched, oh man, I'm in the middle of watching Into the Badlands. I'm a little over halfway through season 3, and oh boy, do I have thoughts. Man. Okay, I started watching this because my friend Nani put it in our spreadsheet. We have a little spreadsheet of all the things we're reading, watching, etc. that is definitely underutilized. But Nani put this on there, and I was like, oh shit, it's been on my list forever. It's the Oliver Stark show. So I started watching it. If you've never heard of the show, it is like an incredibly like violent sci-fi kung fu drama, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. It's a great time. But as I go throughout the series, season 1 and 2 and season 3 feel like completely different shows altogether. Season 1 and 2 is like a silly, goofy time, a la Daybreak. If you guys ever watch that, the show with Sandra May Frank, the like post-apocalyptic comedy, whatever. Very much giving that vibes. You got Oliver Stark doing his thing. It was fun. It wasn't like good, but it was fun. And then you get into season 3, and I feel like you could watch season 3 just by itself. It's a strong tonal shift. They try to get more like serious and like important storylines or whatever. And I compared it to the like political aspect of Game of Thrones meets the video game Death Stranding. If that means anything to you. That's all season 3 is. There's a baby. They're taking the baby to a lot of different places. There's a lot of political drama over property and land ownership and people ownership and all that stuff. Seasons like 1 and 2 were like camp, and season 3 is like commentary. And Oliver Stark isn't in season 3. So like it's taking me a little bit longer to get through. It's also like longer than seasons 1 and 2 combined. I think season 1 is like 6 episodes and season 2 is 10, and then season 3 is 18. So,
oof, it's like 2
I'm
seasons.
working through it. Yeah,
you're getting there.
Yeah.
Keep us updated.
I'm getting there. I'm on like episode 9 or 10, I think. But yeah, it's been a time. That show, bonkers.
Sounds like it could be a fun one for our host's choice. Try to discover what the rest of the plot's going to be after watching the bare minimum. We'll put it on the back burner for that one. Marissa, before you tell us what you've been watching, did you realize that you matched the show's branding this evening with the headset matching the pink and the shirt matching the purple, and your cup is also matching the purple, I think? Yeah.
I wear Witatap branding everywhere I go.
Is that what we call our show?
That's what my brain reads it when I write the acronym. Witatap.
I read it as a WTAP.
I just read it as WAP.
Yeah.
The T's are silent.
Either I subconsciously influenced the branding with my favorite colors, or the branding has subconsciously influenced me in my color story choices.
Either way,
then. Yeah.
Cohesive.
Which
synergy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marissa, what have you been watching?
Okay. There was a moment where I was really branching out, and then I just stopped. So in that moment, I watched that 90s show. I watched Reboot, which has since been canceled, which RIP, very sad. I watched all of what is currently available of The Sex Lives of College Girls, the first 2 seasons. I am currently watching Poker Face, which is, I don't know how many episodes there will be, but I think I've watched 5 of them maybe. That's on Peacock. And then I just like, my brain was like, no more. So, actually, I've been very slowly rewatching WandaVision, starting from like the first episode release anniversary. And I just finished it like 2 days ago. And then
and your TikTok series to go with it.
Yes,
it
has ended. Yes, thank you. Yes, I vlogged myself rewatching it, aka having several mental breakdowns. And then now I am I'm back in my Bridgerton era. So I tried to rewatch Bridgerton season 1 and I didn't like it. So I've just been season 2 on a loop. So
we can never forget the environment in which we were handed Bridgerton season 1.
true.
Honestly, had such an impact on our love for it as a community.
Right. When we were gifted it, it was a beautiful gift.
It
But
was a
now that
beautiful
we
gift.
have been given season 2, maybe we don't need to revisit that.
Only if your Vanity Fair's Hollywood portfolio cover, which
Oh,
we will get
true,
to when we
yeah.
talk about award season. Okay, finally, let's do some rapid fire what we've been listening to. We can just like go around quickly and say what's been on our playlist the past few weeks. As of this week, for me, Heaven by Niall Horan's out. 5 out of 5 stars. So good. Sly?
Another JJ pull, Rolling with Difficulty, which is an actual play podcast. Very good. I'm very picky about my actual play podcast, so I was really excited that this one clicked. A Bintel Brief, which is a Jewish advice podcast by The Forward. Very good, very fun.
Don't
And
give all of them.
then-
Don't give all of them. We're gonna go in a circle. So
Oh,
Marissa
sorry. You
say
said
one. No,
rapid fire. I was rapid firing mine.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Save some. Marissa, give us one.
Oh, okay. Starting off with a podcast, I am a dedicated reader of Las Culturistas, and getting into award season, they're really ramping up their campaign interviews. I specifically like to revisit Steph Shu and Michelle Yeoh's episodes.
So good.
Love
So
her.
good.
Love her.
Yeah. Continuing on the award season train, the Little Gold Statues podcast is the award season's Bible. If you're not listening to it by Vanity Fair, they give you everything. Everything about everything is on that podcast, and it's kind of a must listen. Sly?
Reclaiming Jane, which is a deep dive into the works of Jane Austen. I've listened to the first 2 seasons, and they're going chronological order. So season 3 is Mansfield Park, but I need to revisit that before I can listen to a podcast about it.
So fun. Marissa?
What got me back into my Bridgerton era was rediscovering the unofficial Bridgerton musical album. And so that's been on a loop for me as well. I don't need to watch season 1. I just listen to the musical and then move right to season 2.
And honestly, as you should.
No.
Honestly, as you should. Because I don't know how you could rewatch season 1 and not just think about the song burn, like on replay in your head. I'm going to shout out one of Alexis here. The Kelsey Ballerini EP is out. It's really good if you have not given it a listen. I've been very much in my work playlist the past few weeks, which is a combo of the lo-fi beats we were curating, but then also like my emo screamo playlist that just, I wake up in the morning and go full blast in my head to get me out the door. So a little bit of a departure from like Niall Horan Good Vibes, having a little bit more like Pierce the Veil 2012, but it's all good because we made it through. And now we're back in our like cool kind of never chill, trying to be chill vibes playlist, which is great. Sly?
Me listening to music, shocker, I know. I got really into Noah Khan recently. I don't know, something about being back in the very small town in the middle of nowhere that I grew up in is that music's just hitting a lot of common themes right now. So that's been most of my on play.
Honestly, songs of the summer are coming from Noah Khan, and he's playing like all the major festivals this year. So good. Marissa?
I just had to fact check myself because I felt like this next thing, which is Renee Rapp's EP, Everything to Everyone, I felt like it came out after we ended our episodes for the year, but that's not true. I just started listening to it in full after we ended the episodes for the year. So that's been on heavy rotation, especially loving Colorado recently off that.
I love. Anything else anyone wants to plug, or shall we move into our favorite time of the week?
I'm good.
Yeah, Join the Party, another actual play podcast that I really dig, just started their campaign 3, which I'm very excited about. It's pirates, so that'll be fun.
Love it. Okay, it's time for
oh boy.
The most chaotic 8 minutes of our week. And as per usual, Liz has prepared nothing other than she was given the topic to rant about, which these chosen rants usually feel like they're victimizing us, but you know what? Sometimes we deserve it, and that's kind of where I'm going with my topic this week. And that's all I'm going to say for now. I will say, Alexis's rant, I'm very sad. She's not here to give us a listicle of things that she thinks would be improved by sweaters, and I'm hoping that she will return next week to give us some context around that. Marissa, what are you going to be ranting about this week?
I'm in my Bridgerton era, and that's all you need to know.
Great. Sly?
Okay, my rant this week is a spoiler-filled synopsis with commentary on the Netflix Richard Madden Bodyguard miniseries. If you don't want any spoilers for that, go ahead and mute for the next but also like heavy warnings, content warnings for like PTSD and suicidal ideation, etc., etc. So like, if you don't need to hear that right now, also feel free to mute whenever I'm speaking. But this show, it was something. So I'm very excited to talk about it.
All right. Why don't we toss a banner up, Sly, with some of those trigger warnings if you would like while we get the rants started. Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to take a little sip of Diet Coke for courage here. I'm excited to watch this one back. All right. I'm just going to get started. So I think a joy most of the time, but sometimes producer Liz really gets producing and things turn full chaos mode. And, you know, recently it's been discovered that everyone who's worked with me really should unionize against me because everyone shares the same struggles when it comes to trying to make my vision come to life. So I've been requested to spend my 2 minutes this week issuing a formal public apology to everyone who's ever worked with me.
Okay, the formal title of this rant is Where the effing F is Bridgerton season 3. Where is it? I have recognized a pattern that every winter is Bridgerton time. We had it in 2021. We had it in 2022. It's 2023 and there's no Bridgerton. It's winter time and there's no Bridgerton. It's quickly leaving winter time and there's no Bridgerton. And I am not okay with that anymore.
I'm muted. All right, so we start the episode. Richard Madden's on a train. He has to talk down a suicide bomber. He's talking about like his experience in Afghanistan and all like the things he had to do for the big people, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, he gets a promotion because of that, because he was off duty, and he becomes protection detail for the Home Secretary, who we hate, who has like horrible policies, blah, 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 blah. He meets his army buddy who's like...
So, because I care about integrity, I will be issuing a full notes app apology on my Instagram after the show. But to give you a taste, there's 3 main points of apology to issue to everyone who's ever worked with me. Point 1 is inconsistent and ever-changing runs of shows. We did change the run of show at exactly 9 p.m. when live was set to start at 9:05 p.m. just to give you a taste of the chaos and me never learning. I will never change this pattern of behavior, but I am sorry that you have to deal with it forevermore.
This is a brief deviation. Thank you, Claw, for bringing this up. I actually have been watching the most recent season of Drag Race. I'm a little bit behind, but that's not part of this rant. This is about Bridgerton season 3. Where is it? We haven't even seen a teaser. We haven't seen a trailer. We know nothing. And yes, I understand that the like Queen Charlotte show is coming before that, but that's in May. That's still not winter. Winter time is Bridgerton time, and I don't understand why it's not happening. I rationally understand that yes, production didn't start until after season 2 had aired, which was not the case with season 1.
All right, but so his army buddy is a little bit radical, but he's making a lot of sense. We're with him. All right, there's an attack near Richard Madden's kids' school. His army buddy goes on to try to the principal, the girl he's protecting, and it's this big drama moment, and then they fuck, and I read Bodyguard AUs. I knew this was going to happen. I thought it would be later, like when they get a chance to like try to redeem her or something. No, episode 2, right off the bat.
Point 2, I am a triple fire sign. And although I will never apologize for that, I do recognize that sometimes it is helpful for those that are not a triple fire sign when I'm able to rein it in. And I don't do that often. And when I do, it is to the betterment of everyone around me. So again, I apologize for being a lot. But as we're going to talk about when we talk about Moon Girl, I am a lot. And sorry, y'all have to deal with it. But hopefully it pays off because it means we do good shows.
All we have gotten about Bridgerton season 3 is like a To Doom like teaser like 4 months ago or something of like Nicola Coughlan in what is that called? A carriage? I don't know. Like looking all dolled up because obviously we know the main characters of every Bridgerton season have to get yassified. But that's it. That's all we get. No teaser, no trailer, and no release date. I am suffering over here. Okay? I am in an era.
All right. Episode 3, they continue to fuck. The Home Secretary, continues to be sketchy as fuck. He has a PTSD episode and like chokes her out or whatever, and she's like, "You need help." She's right, but we still hate her. And then she's giving this big speech that everybody advised against, and a bomb goes off. All right, we figure out why they didn't try to redeem her before they got together, because they her instead, and he loses his shit trying to like himself. And
my final point is I love chaos, and I recognize not everyone loves chaos, but I love chaos. So to all the chaos that I throw onto people that do not appreciate it, I do apologize. However, I will continue to be the coven of chaos in every set that I walk into, and hopefully you choose to accept it. I also really appreciate all the cool people I work with, and I find it really hard to be sincere. Sorry about that.
I hate when you give me extra time.
I'm having a dramatic pause, but it's fine.
Listen, I am in my Bridgerton era and I am not being properly fed. Do I have a lot of criticisms and issues with the show? Yeah, I do. But it's wintertime. It's cuffing season. The days are short. It's cold. I just want to watch pretty people in pretty dresses, like trying to abide by Regency era societal rules. That's not too much to ask, I don't think. Thank you and good night.
All right, so he figures out like his apartment's been tampered with because of that, and then he's like trying to follow all the threads. Everybody's trying to figure out who's involved with what, drama, intrigue, etc. He goes to meet with this arms dealer, wakes up in a bummer vest, and has to talk everybody down, figure out what's going on, solve all the things, and then we get the beautiful dramatic reveal of like the mastermind behind the bombs, the corruption in the force, blah 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 blah, and then his family, him and his wife and his kids, ride off into the sunset together, and it's beautiful because we love them.
To wrap this up with a pretty little bow, even though I'm over my 2 minutes, I will never change. You will continue to have to deal with me, but I can grow, and maybe someday I'll have a run of show that does not change literally while the show is live. In fact, I realized there's something I wanted to add to the run of show that's not currently in it, so I am going to go do that right now. But y'all are all talented people, and can I steal some time from Marissa? Do you want to keep going?
No, please. Take it.
I was asked as repayment to apologize specifically to the fandoms of everyone I've ever worked with. So to the after partiers, the Just Like the Other Girls, which is Alexis's fan base, the Cyclones, the Jar Jars, which is Marissa's fan base, the Steve Stans, the Paulers, and the Will Lemons. I do apologize profusely for the chaos and the drama that I bring to set, but who would you be without me and that chaos? So cheers to you, and here's to many more great shows ahead.
All right, on that note, the Richard Madden Netflix miniseries, The Bodyguard, it's a silly, goofy time. Besides like episodes 2 and 3, I was like fully invested. Once I got past episode 3, I was like, okay, I'm back in it. But it was just a lot, especially for myself. And it was great. And if you like bodyguard things, I would recommend it. And also, we stand Vicky. That's his wife, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, she's great. We love her.
I'm so mad that I was 1 millisecond off.
Wow.
That's gonna drive me crazy for the rest of time, but it's fine. It's fine. For those of you that are just joining us, can you catch us up, Sly, on which show you were ranting about? Because I feel like that must have been jarring for folks to walk into.
The Bodyguard, which is not like The Bodyguard, like no, it's a Netflix original miniseries that came out this year with Richard Madden, but the SEO is horrible. Who calls the show just The Bodyguard?
It's true. We need to start normalizing long names for shows, because if you have like the best movie that ever came out was To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I know that's also a book, but like the SEO on that entire phrase captured. You know what I mean? I'm done with these one-word movie titles. I want like 20 syllables minimum in my movie titles moving forward.
Jesus Christ.
Right? Right? I really love being called out by y'all and your memory of our shows. All I remember is Liz has fries on the floor of her car and Alexis is on Nickelodeon. That's
all true.
all true. All true facts. All true facts.
All I'm hearing is that Marissa and I are forgettable, and I'm kind of offended about that.
Throw some facts in the comments about Marissa and Sly. There's lots that we could say, but I want to see what everyone remembers. Also, Abbott Elementary, I'm behind because I've been away for a few weeks. So we are not talking about Abbott this episode, but obviously it's the best show on TV right now, no cap.
100%.
With that said, there are a lot of great shows on TV right now. And a lot of them are nominated across this award season. So
I have to offer a full apology, apparently. According to JJ, this show came out forever ago. I didn't know that. It just popped up on my Netflix.
The Richard Madden limited series was like 6 months ago or something.
Brand new.
Yeah.
There is another Canadian show.
JJ is gaslighting you right now.
It looked new, and that's all.
No, it is new. He did promo for it.
Yeah, it was new.
It was bad. The promo was bad. He had no key message. It was like, oh, it's a good show.
It was like a UK release first, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about award season.
I'm not in the UK. Let's get into it.
Let's talk about award season. Listen, every award season, we release the We'll Throw the After Party bingo card for everyone to play along through award season with. And we thought we would take a few minutes on tonight's show while we're in the midst of things. We have a good handle on what's happening, but we have a lot of room left to go to create our bingo card for the coming weeks. So we've started filling this out with some of our predictions, some of your predictions that you sent in on social, and we thought we would all finish it together. So start leaving your comments on your predictions for this award season. It's not just about the winners here. We're talking about everything from the red carpet to the good and the bad interviews, to the good and the bad jokes that happen on stage, to what happens with our best dressed lists. So anything that you think is going to happen over the coming weeks, leave it in the comments now. So you are represented on the bingo card. We have some to add. I've added in Alexis's already. She wanted specifically to call out red carpet meets boudoir. So meaning we're seeing some boudoir inspired looks. And we have been seeing a lot, especially with like these corset and kind of mesh tops that have been happening. So I think it's a really strong call out. Also, this outfit needs explanation, but still doesn't work. And specifically, like if it's a marketing move, and we have seen some of those as well, which really excited to see more of those kind of fails coming up. And finally, she had this one, trash bag chic, which is fashion that looks like it could be a trash bag. This is a callback to a prediction Alexis also made last year, and I think it's just going to be a staple on this bingo card moving forward. My additions to the card have been kind of all over the place. One was technical category sweep. Specifically, I think All Quiet on the Western Front is going to sweep all of technical at the Oscars, but we shall see. Regardless, I think it's going to be like one movie that just takes all of them once again. Crying during the Best Supporting Actor win, it's either going to be the winner or it's going to be me. But either way, there will be crying. And finally, pastel suits have kind of been the moment on the carpet this year, so I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Marissa,
yes.
What would you like to add to this card?
Okay, top of the list, Leah is in agreement with me. Andrew Garfield is going to show up somewhere.
Right.
He has to be on there. No, he's not nominated for anything, but yeah, he'll be there. I mean, he wasn't nominated for the Tony Awards, and he was there and turned into a meme immediately. So like, people know he's good internet content. He gets eyes on programming, so he'll be around. In my heart, I know that.
Well, the thing about Andrew Garfield is he is going to show up and he is going to leave us with a meme that will work for the rest of time.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a really, really fair call out. Unfortunately,
I might have misspoken because he might be nominated for BAFTA.
Isn't he for, oh my God, the show
it's
that
for Under the Banner of Heaven.
Under the Banner of Heaven.
He's
the year that Andrew Garfield gets his flowers. It's gonna be the best year of my life whenever Andrew Garfield gets the respect he deserves from.
Yeah, no, he's not nominated, but he'll be around.
He'll be around. He's always around. And he's a former nominee. He was just
Yes, he
nominated for
is.
Tick Tick Boom, which means he'll get invited back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got nothing going on. He hasn't worked in a year. He's just going to flirt with people and have fun.
Listen, more Amelia Dims content with Andrew Garfield is all I'm asking for.
Oh my
this
God, I
award
can't
season.
believe.
We know the
Wow.
interview's coming. We know it's coming.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
way.
I mean, I might have to edit one of my predictions just to include Amelia because she's gonna be in the BAFTAs, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Shall we just have an Amelia Dims?
Yeah, I can sacrifice one of my predictions just for Amelia Dims.
Let's do it. We can
Oh my
also
God. Okay, yes. The Bodyguard with Richard Madden came out in 2018 on the BBC. It just recently came to Netflix, though. Everyone in the comments.
Oh,
Thank
so
you very
everybody's
much.
right. I love when
Everybody is right.
Everybody's right. We have the smartest followers, I swear. This community is just all brains. Brains for days. Okay. I'm adding Amelia Dims onto the card.
Oh, she looks so good.
What's your next prediction?
Oh, next prediction, which is primarily about Colin Farrell, is a winner will thank an animal in their speech.
Honestly, Jenny the Donkey deserved a Best Supporting Actor nomination, and that's a fact.
We got Amanda Seyfried thanking her dog in her Emmy speech. So
yeah.
I think we're due for more animal thanks.
Honestly, here for it.
Oh my God. Wow. The violence with which people are correcting us about The Bodyguard with Richard Madden.
Personally offended. I just watched the show to have a silly, goofy time, and I don't need y'all to be so aggressive about it. JJ.
Listen, we still have a passionate community over here. Sorry, we did not put a trigger warning. We were talking about Jenny the Donkey. I'm still also torn up. Eric says Stark Radio will get a shout out at the 2023 Academy Awards. I will die on this hill. Listen, shall we put it on the bingo card? Stark Radio is also a dead entity, so if it got a shout out at the Academy Awards, I'd probably cry. But
yeah, Stark Radio is now defunct.
Now defunct. Let's listen. Eric says it. We shall add it. And I'm just gonna say we'll throw the after party shout out at Oscars. Listen, if we get a full card, we'll pop champagne on the show. It'll be great. I
mean, is Emily going? We could text Emily.
We know lots of
get our name out there.
We know lots of people going. Okay, Marissa, what other predictions do you have?
Oh, okay. My final prediction is baiting Marvel red carpet questions because we have a lot of Marvel cast members nominated this year and attending and all of that kind of thing. And red carpet interviewers love to ask about like blockbuster projects rather than the projects that they're nominated for.
Yep, absolutely. Especially you're seeing that a lot with Jonathan Majors right now doing the Ant-Man. Yeah,
and he's about to be promoting a new a lot. Yeah.
Yep. Sly, give me some of your predictions.
All right. Marlee Matlin, love of my life, is on the board of governors for the Academy now. Mm-hmm. And so I'm making the prediction that the Oscars will be the most accessible show this year out of all the award shows. Low bar. They're not doing too hot. They've never been great, but I think they'll be a little bit better this year.
There we go. I'd love to see it. Honestly, I will cheers to that. Cheers. No, we can't cheers until it happens, but I will take a sip of my Coke. Now, Sly, I would like you to read your next prediction out exactly as it's written and then explain it after.
All right. Tim Tam salami meat does something. I don't know what it will be. Anything. And in reaction to that, Liz will have an inhaler moment.
Do we know who Tim Tam salami meat is?
He's on the screen with us right now. He's in the room. Girl, he's right behind you.
He is. Tim Tam salami meat right here, folks. Listen, would you like to explain the meme that inspired this new name?
I guess I will. We're all for not being gatekeeping here. If you haven't heard of the internet, or just like avoided Tumblr memes for the last 2 decades, I guess. There's this running gag that nobody can call Bandersnatch Cumberbund by his actual name. We just use other words that like genuinely or generally fit the vibe. And I saw a TikTok video saying that we need to make Tim Tam's salami meat the new version.
A new version for
that,
Timothée
so.
Chalamet. I'm for it, honestly.
I just realized that those are both food-based names, and so I probably was very hungry filling out this show doc earlier today. Thank you for asking.
No, it's great. I'm into it. I'm into it. Finally, what's your last prediction here?
Oh, I feel like this is also a gimme, but somebody will make one of the presenters will make an offensive joke that everybody gets like up in arms with and overly outraged over for like maybe a couple days, and then everybody will forget about it for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
I'll say after. There we go. Honestly, I think that we could already check this one off because this is a staple of the Oscars. Yeah. Oscars does not know how to read the room for whatever reason. The other award shows, hit or miss. Okay. So we have a few spots left. Let's see what else is coming in from the comments and finish this off. Oh, well, we can agree with this right off the bat that the only murder trio should be hosting. And I think that was maybe a conversation that was happening and it didn't pan out. Stephanie Shu's winning chances are dead. Yeah, it's clearly going to Angela Bassett. She is the front runner for Best Supporting Actress at this time, but we can celebrate her getting on the ballot because that was not always clear.
Yeah.
Someone mentions the death of a movie star.
The death of the movie star, like the concept of the movie star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Hold on here. Death of that came up a lot in those Vanity Fair articles, right? And in the commentary that kind of came from that. And I actually think that piece was an interesting counterpoint to the idea of how a movie star is defined. They were like, no, the movie star is not dead. Here's 12 of them. And in fact, I think they missed a lot of really prominent people on that spread. Like we did not have Timothy, we did not have Zendaya, we did not have Saoirse Ronan. Like there was a lot of people who I would say are bigger movie stars. Tom Holland's another one that if you're thinking of that spread, I thought he was missing. But it felt like they were trying to center on the people that were in the Oscars race. And then I was listening to the commentary on Little Gold Statues, and they were saying that in fact, they were not trying to just focus on the Oscars race. They were looking at a broad swath of folks that reflect the new generation. So I was like, well,
it was like half and half.
I don't know how you do that cover and not put Zendaya on it.
I know.
That was shocking to me.
She must have gotten the offer.
Must have. Anyway, all to say, Zendaya's winning either way.
Yeah.
What else?
We have 4 spots left.
Going through, I'm just seeing a lot of the Bodyguard commentary that was happening. So we've got a few slots left. Let's return to this maybe after the show. And you will find this bingo card on our Instagram at After Party Show. So you can download it and use it all award season long. And this is a good time for us to say that we will be live during the Oscars and a few other pivotal moments of award season. So if you want to watch along these big shows with us, you'll be able to do so, which we're super jazzed about. So our watch parties are back. We'll be playing these bingo cards live. And of course, you can find all the memes on Twitter at After Party Show, where Marissa, every year is our meme machine getting those dropped for you as they appear. Should we add the slap joke? Commentary about the slap?
So tired.
I don't want to give it any airtime.
I know.
Yeah, let's not. We'll revisit this and see what we're missing later on. But we I'm so excited to talk more about awards season. I'm still trying to work my way through those Vanity Fair cover stories. Woo, that's quite the undertaking. I thought it would be a fun little Saturday night activity, and I'm now like so far down the rabbit hole thinking about Austin Butler's PR strategies. It's obscene.
Oh my God. Just the last 24 hours being in LA, the FYC like bus, like what is that called? Benches, the billboard, like it's all over. It's all over. It's fascinating.
I'm excited to get your take on it. We'll have to deep dive on what you've been seeing. My eyes on the ground in LA.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
We were driving to brunch and I did try and take a picture of a bus ad.
I appreciate
to
that.
send to you.
I appreciate that. If you're living in an area where you're seeing the For Your Consideration campaigns, make sure to send them my way. There are a few people that always send me the billboards that they see, and I appreciate it because no one's campaigning for Oscars on the East Coast of Canada, that's for sure. But with that said, it is time. It is time. It's been coming up in the chat all night long, and we are so excited to shine the spotlight on Phase 5 of Marvel, but not with Ant-Man. Not with Kevin Feige, not with the big movie stars that are joining cast and all the big announcements that are being made, but with a show that has been flying severely under the radar of the general Marvel conversation. Moon Girl and The Devil Dinosaur premiered on Family Channel in Canada and on Disney Plus in the US. A whole season of magic, of absolute magic for us to enjoy from Marvel. It is, of course, a show targeted at children. This is children's TV, but we've talked extensively on here about the importance, and Alexis specifically, this is her bread and butter, the importance of children's programming and this messaging from Marvel to its youngest, most impressionable audience. So I think it's very fitting that we dedicate some airtime to dig into this new show and all of the magic that it's giving us because, wow, it is I'm just going to say it from my perspective. This is one of Marvel's best properties they have ever shipped. And when you dig into some of the background of the styling choices that they made, the musical choices they made, how they built the show and the stylings that informed it, it really makes sense why this works the way it does. So we'll cover it all. But before we dig into it, I just wanted to ask each of you your first impression of this new property and how you're seeing it fit into this greater Marvel narrative right now.
Woo-hoo-hoo. I love it. I love that we are diversifying the characters that we are shipping to children specifically because we have the like Spider Friends Disney Junior show, which like we all know I do princess parties. We also do superheroes at our company. And so like I go to Spider-Man parties and the kids know Spider-Gwen, they know Miles Morales, but like that's kind of it outside of the Avengers. So I love that we are diversifying the types of characters and the types of stories that they're getting through a superhero lens. It's super fun.
Slide.
Yeah, for me, I really wish personally this came out like literally any other week because I have been busy and I wish I could like have more brain power to commit to like really diving into the show and what it's doing. But surface level, it is fun. It is gorgeous. The vibes are immaculate. The effects are so fun and fresh. And it's so fun to see Marvel really leaning into the stylizations of different properties, especially looking at like Miss Marvel compared to this. Like Miss Marvel really leaned into the stylization of the character, and I think presenting this as an animated project, as a kids project, is just a really inspired choice for how they are presenting these characters to most audiences for the first time. Like, I don't think this is a comic book character a lot of people have read, even if you've heard of it. Like, I've heard of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. I have, like, a general understanding of the characters, but I haven't, like, really dug deep into their comics. So, yeah, it's just so fun.
So let's talk about the comics for a minute. For those of you that are unfamiliar with this property, as I was when we added it to our show list, and I'm sure Alexis will come back with even more context for us next week, but we'll do our best to fill you in on some of the background of this show. It was a comic series from Marvel from 2015 to 2019, so a bit of a newer property, especially when you imagine the turnaround for them to decide to pitch that show to Disney Plus and have it released in 2023. It's a very small turnaround window for the quality of animation that we got. On Rotten Tomatoes, this show is rating at 100%, with an audience score of 84%. Like, this show, when we say it's one of Marvel's best properties, it is not a joke. If you are a Marvel fan, you should check this show out. It does not matter that it's children's programming, just to get a taste and flavor for what they're introducing and how it kind of plays into this phase 5 and onwards young generation of Marvel that's being introduced. The Verge did a review of the show, and I really liked some of their language describing it. They identified the show as a slick, stylish break from the MCU and all its baggage, which we've talked about extensively on this show, how we need to take a break from what we saw in previous phases and allow new characters to just simply exist on their own terms. They also did a really great job capturing some of the magic behind this show. So our lead character is Lunella, who we love. She lives in the Lower East Side of New York City. And The Verge says Lunella doesn't just build miniaturized power grids for fun or because her homework isn't challenging enough. She does it because she loves the niche shop down the street and the black barber shop next door. And she knows that nobody else is going to help those businesses as the rest of her neighbors deal with the rolling blackouts that only ever seem to affect their neighborhood. This is a show that's tackling huge themes for the MCU and getting a little bit more political than we've seen in previous phases, talking about things like gentrification, trolling, the importance of women in STEM. These are all conversations that we have been asking to see from Marvel, that we've been advocating for years now on this show. And so many people that have come on our show and spoken about this new phase of Marvel have said these are conversations that we need to start seeing from Marvel. And they're doing it. They're doing it in Moon Girl and Double Dinosaur. What a cool way to bring these conversations in and get them in front of an impressionable audience. I'd love to hear your guys' take on kind of some of how Marvel is massaging these conversations into their content and what it means to see some of that coming through this property. Big questions, I know.
Big questions.
It's something that we've been saying we want to see for a long time. So I know when I was watching it, I was like, oh, look, they're doing it. They're having the hard conversations in a really constructive, positive, empowering way, and not just like in the sense of a superhero tackling a problem and then it's resolved. Like, it's a more realistic take on some of these big, hard conversations to have in one 30-minute
Right. Session. Yeah. I think the main thing is that in general, Marvel has been giving room to put the stories that they already have on the page on screen. Like the stories that are not about Steve Rogers, that are not about Tony Stark, that they have already developed in comics, but that people who don't follow comics aren't aware of. And so they have... I literally wrote a paper about this, how it's so frustrating that they have opportunities to have diverse stories on screen already taken from their comics, and they haven't been taking that initiative. So I think that's the main thing, is like it's already there. It already exists. They just have to take that next step in development.
I think one of my favorite things about the show and its setting is it doesn't feel like any of the characters or like representation is like an afterthought or shoehorned in. It's just telling the story of this neighborhood and the people who live in this neighborhood. And I really appreciate the commentary on like who the Avengers are for and who the Avengers, like, fight for. And like that little dig was just so delicious to see them, at least one project in the wider Marvel scope, acknowledging that like these high level stories can be fun and cool and like dramatic, but they're not really telling stories about like the people on the ground, and getting a more well-rounded show about just like the day-to-day life in this universe is just really beautiful.
Yeah.
A few things that we've talked about on previous shows and talking through previous properties that have come out, we talked about this extensively with Miss Marvel, is the two things. One, the importance of hiring people behind the camera and through all aspects of production that are representative of the characters you're putting on screen, and how Marvel's properties that do that tend to have different levels of success than the more standard box of Marvel properties where we've seen that are extraordinarily white in front of and behind of the camera. And I want to revisit a specific point that we were talking about with Miss Marvel, which was how empowering it was for everyone to watch a story about Kamala Khan, and how her family was so loving and how everyone could kind of feel like they were a part of her world because it was built in such an authentic way. I feel like we saw a lot of that in these first episodes of Moon Girl and Double Dinosaur, where you really entered into Lunella's life and her family and their business and their community, and the love that they have for each other. And not only because it's a children's show, but because they have very clear dynamics that are representative of family that everyone can kind of find themselves in. I wonder if you guys have thoughts on this, because to me, I was so happy to see that Marvel did it twice. I know when we were talking about Miss Marvel, we were like, it's great we're seeing it here, but are they going to be able to continue to push this forward? Or is this going to be a one-off experience, and the next time we see this, it's going to be back to the more standard box we've seen previous? So for me, I was like celebrating this dynamic returning to a Marvel project, and it's making me more optimistic than I've ever been for how these kind of dynamics are explored in Marvel moving forward. But is my optimism too early? What do y'all think?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't want to think so, at least. I think because Marvel continues to expand, beyond just the movies, beyond just movies and TV, into, children's programming, like, which they have done in the past, but like within sort of under the Disney umbrella of children's programming. Because the content out of Marvel continues to expand, I think the content creators out of Marvel continues to expand. So I would like to hope that as that expands, it will continue to diversify, which in turn will diversify the stories that they're telling. I don't think it's too optimistic to say that they wouldn't walk back from that. I don't know how quickly they'll grow beyond where they are right now, but I think at least for now, we're good in that respect, at least.
Sly, what do you think?
Yeah. I think my benchmark currently is going to see what they do with the Echo show, as it was filming last summer. And like when we have that concrete in front of us, I think it'll be a really easy way to compare whether or not they're actually doing the work behind the scenes and really fleshing out the experience and representation that we see in all of the more technical aspects of production. Because when we were originally presented with Echo, it was, not great. It wasn't framed well. This, there was just a lot of issues with Hawkeye in general, especially and including the representation. And I think that'll be a really nice touchstone to be able to care and see, are they taking in this feedback? Are they improving? Are they growing and really committing to develop their behind the scenes teams? We'll see. If Echo is good, I have strong hopes for the rest of Marvel as a whole.
I think that's an interesting point, right? Like how all of these projects feed into one another in terms of like their feedback and the learnings from each of them impacting other projects, regardless of if they're in this like phase 5, 6, 7 MCU timeline or if they're kind of these periphery pieces, which Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is definitely a periphery piece and not directly a part of that timeline. I think Marvel's doing a few things right where Kevin Feige is kind of that stronghold executive producer across all fronts, having a hand in all of these projects. So he's able to see the gaps and the learnings and help like spread across every instance of Marvel what they're seeing and hearing and what needs to change next. So I think Echo, to your very astutely made point, Sly, is going to be a really good pulse check on like how much intake are they actually doing and disseminating back down into production. I think this was a really interesting case where like we heard a lot from the production behind Miss Marvel about how they were given room to empower their staff and hire staff and promote staff from other projects to lead Miss Marvel, who identified with that story and those backgrounds to bring it to life. And this was another example of people from within Marvel getting put onto this project and also bringing in some external folks from other various facets of entertainment and also other departments of Marvel to work on this specifically. They talked a lot about how they drew inspiration from Into the Spider-Verse, right? Which again, periphery Marvel project, but was a cornerstone of developing this in terms of the look, feel, aesthetic, the music. They also identified some of their inspiration points as like Baby Driver, obviously Childish Gambino with that incredible use of music, and also things like Scott Pilgrim versus the Universe, which could expect to like Brie Larson. So I think it's interesting how it's clear there's both like a strong, steady hand that's like watching everything, polishing things, and hopefully doing that feedback down to the ground level, but also like identifying that we're not just doing Marvel in this like very linear path anymore. It's about taking more stories and more projects and bringing them to life. And then maybe they connect someday or they don't. But either way, like they can exist without it tying back to like a Steve Rogers or a Tony Stark or like one entity. So I think like this is a really cool indicator of what could be next for Marvel. If we're talking about like the conversation of like women representation specifically in Marvel, I think this is such a win. Like having like a 13-year-old like Black woman leading a Marvel project, a Black girl like fully empowered by her family and her community to like be in STEM and be a baddie with like great friends around her. That's not a Marvel story that we have seen really until the Black Panther franchise came to life on screen. So like yay Marvel for continuing to add to the portfolio and not just settling for a very low bar for themselves. Yeah, I think that we have a lot to do and a lot more to advocate for and see from Marvel, but there's a few things with this project that I'm like, seems like this reorg that Kevin did to kind of try and do a little bit more might be working. Might be, but Echo, we'll be on watch for that. Is that this fall or is it next spring that we're getting Echo?
In theory, this year.
Right.
In theory.
In theory. Listen. I understand that it was probably the best decision for the Marvels, but I just am of the opinion, we see this a lot of in video games media, is that people will put a date on things or put a year on things, and then we won't see it for 10 more years. If you can't commit to a date, don't put a date on it. You're just going to disappoint people more by moving it. And putting dates out 3, 4, 5 years in advance means you're not going to be able to stick to it. You have no idea what the climate's going to be like. You have no idea what the state of the project is going to be like. It just is not to your benefit to put a date on something and then changed it. So, that's my rant.
Can I add to your rant just for a brief moment here? And then Marissa, also feel free to chime in. This is also part of my issue with the Hall H announcements, right? Like Hall H was so effective for Marvel when it was what was happening. But now we get Hall H and the names aren't consistent. The times aren't consistent that we're getting the releases. Sometimes the cast changes than what's announced on stage. So another point in time that I'm really interested in is seeing Hall H later this year. I want to, if Marvel decides to participate and do kind of another big thing, which I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't this year simply because they've already announced so much. I'm just really going to be interested to see how they play their cards because like so much has been changing. How could you possibly make a big announcement? But I've seen crazier shit done under smaller timelines, so it would not baffle me if they pulled off something for another big moment.
I want to pull this comment because I'm absolutely right here. Like, one project a quarter, I don't care what they are. I think that's like a great barometer for being consistently in the cultural consciousness, consistently being the topic of conversation. But when you have, you know, maybe you release a kids' TV show and a blockbuster movie the same time frame, and people are only going to talk about one of those. I wonder when that could have happened.
Or 2 TV shows and a blockbuster movie within 2 weeks.
And it's a little distressing when the blockbuster movie, right, did a lot of really great casting and work and maybe did not reach the expectations people had for it. And then there's these projects that are so phenomenal on multiple levels. The messaging, the artistry, the way that it was built by its cast and crew. Like, there's just so much to talk about with a show like this. And yet, like, we pigeonhole it into like children's television or into some kind of box where it just less worthy of a platform than Ant-Man, simply because Ant-Man is like a Phase 5 project.
Yeah.
That pisses me off.
It's false legitimacy. Truly. Yeah. The thing I was going to say is backtracking a little bit to the Hall H of it all. Given that this year is Disney 100, I am very interested by the pushing of release dates because I feel like you would want to get as much content out as you can this year to like have that Disney 100 opening plate like stamp on it. So D23 this year will be very interesting, which will not be as much of an indicator as, you know, a Comic-Con, but it'll be something.
Yeah.
I'm predicting a lot of trailers or a lot of like sneak peeks. Yeah. We have a sneak peek of footage and then it is not going to make the final cut. But anyway, that's me being snarky. Why don't we talk about this show a little bit more specifically in some of the episodes that dropped? Shall we do a toast?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yes.
What are we toasting with? I've got the brand that I shouldn't be plugging because they don't pay me to. Some Diet Coke, which is now not as cold as I like it, but I'll still toast with it. Marissa, what are you toasting with?
I'm toasting with a beautiful purple colored water bottle full of water.
It's very pretty. I'm a fan.
I'm toasting with used to be full of ice water and now just has a little bit of ice water.
Cheers. Cheers into the corner of the screen. Other corner, Marissa. Other corner. There. Cheers. And cheers to everybody watching. Let us know what you're toasting with in the comments. JJ is toasting with a Concord Sour. I don't know what that is. What is
Grape
that?
juice. Grape juice.
I love. Okay, I gotta make you full screen again so I can see you. All right. Who would like to toast first?
I'll go.
Marissa.
Okay. I want to do a shout out to the gay Peloton dads, but I'm going to, in truth, steal Alexis's toast because she wrote it before me. I am toasting to all of the hair love on this show. I love the hair love. I love how Lunella's hair is animated. I love how much she loves her hair and she talks about loving her hair. And it's just such important, empowering messaging. So a toast to the hair love.
Cheers. Absolutely.
Cheers.
Just quickly, there's some really interesting commentary if you read into some of the press they did for this show about how they animated the backgrounds and the environments versus animated the characters. And the hair is part of that, and how the animation of the hair changes based on both the environment animation and the character animation. So if you're interested, there's some really cool articles that kind of explain how they made choices based on what the shots were. Loved it.
Wow.
Sly, what are you toasting to?
Well, mine seems derivative now, not nearly as exciting as that beautiful. I'm toasting to the Dino Disc Golf. Disco Ball.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Just as valid.
Absolutely. Oh my god, so much carbonation. Woo! I'm not really a Diet Coke drinker. This is like a new thing for me. So good. Okay, I'm toasting to women producing shows because this is a show produced by a woman who knows her fucking shit, and it shows through every step of the way. So cheers. We love.
Cheers.
All right. Let's talk about some of our roses and thorns for these shows. We will do a little disclaimer that some of us, because we're in Canada, had a harder time finding all the episodes to stream. So I've only seen the first episode of this, which means my roses and thorns are pretty contained to episode 1. But Sly and Marissa, you each got to dabble a little bit into the other episodes, correct?
Mm-hmm. I got the first 3.
Beautiful.
Me too.
Beautiful. So we have some takes on the episode in my case that we did watch. My rose about this show, which means the thing that I enjoyed the most, is how funny it was. All of my notes are me just like LOL at the various lines that were being said. I was cracking up. Like, I was losing it. There was a lizard conspiracy thing. It made me like cry laughing. There was the girl, the PR girly, and she gave like this list of all the things she was gonna do: digital marketing, merchandising opportunities. I've been told them a bit much, but I don't see it. And I was like, oh, I've been read to filth. I've been read to filth by this show.
Love her.
I love her.
Love her.
Man, I felt seen. I love it. I love it. So that was my rose. Sly, what was your rose for these episodes?
I didn't like really think this through, so we're going off the cuff. And you know, I was thinking about how cool it was to see within this show, like the main character is Lunella, but her best friend, our favorite PR girly, also plays such a huge role in this show. And coming off of recently watching Wakanda Forever, for me, seeing the Black Latina solidarity in the show was really fun, and not having them as like opposing forces in a project, I think is really beautiful and really fun. And they're both like such vibrant characters, and they can hold space together on screen in really powerful ways. And so that was my rose.
I love it. Marissa?
We might have to do a snake because my rose and thorn are kind of the same thing.
Let's do it.
But my rose is that this was peak Disney Channel, Disney channeling. I like immediately at the start of the first episode was like, this is The Replacements, this is American Dragon Jake Long, this is Proud Family, this is Kim Possible vibes, this is 3 p.m. Disney Channel animated show, like peak Disney Channel. My thorn is also that it's Disney Channel, Disney channeling, because of the 3 episodes I watched, I felt like the messaging was a little bit inconsistent. Some of it was just for fun. Some of it was very like afternoon special-y, like on a very special episode, hard hitting, learn a lesson.
Sure.
So that like made it a little like, I don't really know that it's a show you can really binge basically because of the sort of inconsistency of messaging between episode to episode. But
which was exactly my problem with
really
Tangled, the miniseries. My God.
Yeah.
My God, you cannot. That's a conversation for another day. But just we'll put
shout out to Tangled. Absolutely not a binge show.
Not a binge. You cannot binge watch that show. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
So maybe it was more a user error because I binged it. But yeah.
Sly.
My thorn for this week is that absolutely no one knew the show was even happening in the first place. Some of our co-hosts didn't know this show was happening until we put it on the list of things to talk about. Nobody's talking about it
had to tune into Thirsty Thursday and ask in the comments, can you remind me what show we're watching in next week? Because I literally don't remember. Not to say it was me. It was totally hypothetical that happened. And then I texted Liz, this is the show we're supposed to be watching. And yeah, okay, it was me. I'll admit it was me. That wasn't my finest moment.
But just the fact that absolutely nobody is talking about this. And when I was not a Marvel fan, when I was on the periphery, on the outside, it felt like Marvel fans were kind of a cult, and they would watch everything and anything that was even tangentially related just to get that small little detail of blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then I started to watch all the things, and I know the things y'all don't talk about. Runaways, Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger is one of the best Marvel shows, and nobody talks about it. And so, like, now that I've seen that, like, okay, maybe people don't dive in as much as they claim to. And if you're missing out on this because it's, like, Disney Channel children's show, that's your own fault. But more people should be talking about this, and the fact that nobody knew it was happening was a huge PR fail on them. There was no marketing about the show.
They could have sent PR boxes out for this, like, no problem. Like, there's so many ways they could have played on it. I did a little bit of a TikTok deep dive in the same line of thought as you, Sly. I wanted to know what the community conversation was around this, because exactly to your point, particularly in 2020, like, every Marvel property that came up, you could go on TikTok, you could search for the property, and it would just be like an endless, like, amount of thought pieces around the thought property. And then when we got to Shang-Chi and that one, I was gonna call it a one shot, but that's not what they call them in the movie world. That's more of the AO3 language. But they had the original about, what is it called? The Mandarin, and he escapes jail, and it's like the one-off story that's like 10 minutes long.
The one-shots, yeah.
Yeah, they call them one-shots.
Oh, good, great. So, like, the one-shot series kind of became popular because that was like required, recommended viewing before you saw Shang-Chi. There was thought pieces about every single one-shot on Disney Plus. So I went on TikTok looking for kind of what was the community's take on this show. And there are a handful of clips from the show that have gone viral with like a couple million views and like 250,000 likes or something like to that extent. But only a couple clips that are like that, and mostly around the use of Childish Gambino in a children's show. A couple that are doing commentary around how great of an example and role model Lunette is. Excuse me. However, not
Lunette is the girl from Big Comfy Couch. This is Lunella.
Oh my god, Lunella. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired, y'all.
No, but I love the Big Comfy Couch representation.
Right? I met her on a show.
Oh, I know. You tell me all the time.
But yeah, like maybe one video that was more specific about Lunella and how great of an example she is, great character to bring forth, etc. But compared to what we saw in 2020 and 2021, which I will restate, part of what we do on this show is track these conversations and then talk about them and dissect them. And specifically when we first started this show, that we did that extensively. It's clear that this is nowhere near the extent of conversation, promotion, marketing that those original shows got. Even in the news outlets that got to cover the announcement of the show, they're few and far between, and not even to the extent that children's programming usually gets upon release. So I don't know who dropped the ball in the marketing budget, but like it would have been easy to do a PR box that represented the aesthetic of this show and sent it out to Marvel creators to get the ball rolling. It would have cost like a, bottom of the barrel number in comparison to some of the other marketing that Marvel does. I hope we get like a line of merch for this show because it's so beautiful, and like the animation style, you could see it so clearly on like backpacks and lunch boxes and sweaters. Like you can just see it. It's so beautiful. We actually have some examples from the show that I've uploaded that I'll pull up. Like just stunning, right?
Mm-hmm. It's just so fun.
This was an early color script that was released to The Verge. Just so good.
And just really leading into the comicness of it. And like one sequence I really want to call out is the beginning of episode 2 when they go to get sandwiches before school, and they have the like bam, zapow, pow, 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 like pop-ups in a very comic-y style, and just really embracing that and leaning into it is really like fleshing out the world and making it more rich in such a fun way.
Yeah.
It's
And
stunning.
her expressions with the goggles, like the visual storytelling they're doing with this makes it more approachable for a range of children, but also just it's just so fun and just really gets its hooks into you.
It's like it's truly beautiful.
It is. It's stunning. And they hold on, I have another take on here. So the aesthetic, according to the articles that do exist, I read all of them. And so the aesthetic was specifically drawn from 1980s, 1990s New York City, brought into modern day 2022, 2023. A big focus on cool and intricate graffiti, creative environments. They wanted it to visually, musically, and sonically feel like New York City, akin to how the Spider-Verse also built their New York City. So you notice a lot of through lines between the Spider-Verse building and this. They specifically said that they used a screen printing aesthetic from old comic books when they were printed on paper, and the ink would always like bleed out of the lines, which is where you get this really cool, if I can pull it back up, when you see the characters versus the environment behind them, you have the kind of more comic book looking environments, and then you have the characters a little bit more in focus. I'm trying to find, this one here, right? Like, see how the trees are built and the floor and the graffiti versus how the characters kind of pop out against it. So you have some like juxtaposed styles brought on screen together to create that really unique vibe. The characters are a more modern ink style, to kind of really make them pop. And then they really use the music as another driver of the aesthetic. So Childish Gambino was one of the first musical influences that was brought in. And then they obviously stuck it through to that final sequence that made it to air, which is just like so incredible.
That needle drop was wild.
I think one of the best uses of music in like a modern media piece in a minute. Like I also think it really shows how I had this thought while watching. It's kind of an off tangent, but it's interesting, like the pieces of modern music that live on, like, and will have continued life because a new generation's getting imprinted with them, right? Like you see Taylor Swift music in a lot of children's movie like programming, right? So there's a whole generation that's going to have her songs like embedded in their childhood the way that we remember like Hilary Duff music and like the music from Disney Channel of the 2000s, right? And now you have Childish Gambino who's coming in through all of these children's projects as another figure that's going to have a prolonged impact with his music in a similar kind of way. So I was like so fascinated by that, right? And it's because the music means so much to our generation. We're putting it into our projects. I think that's so cool. Side tangent. Sorry about that. But yeah, love it. Sly, you had a point that you wanted to talk about on here, so I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay, I just added something to the show doc. Speaking to our toxic moments, I'm assuming you're referring to my original point I wanted to talk about.
Whatever point you want to raise, Bethany, you go for it. Also, I would say, let me defend changing the show doc behavior. I don't think it's toxic. I love chaos. I approve. So change away, my friend. What would you like to talk about?
All right, so in episode 1, we get a shout out to Megan Rapinoe, which is very exciting because I don't know how people don't know that I'm a huge basketball fan, but apparently that's something I talk about enough on the internet because it comes out as a surprise every time I bring it up. I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm a huge Storm fan. Sue Bird, I got to go to her last home game ever. It was great. There were tears. Anyways, Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe, power couple. Love them. They recently started their own production company, with Sue now being retired. I say quotes because I'm pretty sure Diana Taurasi is going to drag her back out on the court for something eventually. But it's called A Touch More, which if you were not watching the Megan Rapinoe, Sue Bird Instagram lives in early lockdown days, Go find them. They live on the internet. I'm pretty sure there's a YouTube channel for them. It's great content, truly some of the best. But they were talking about like the change to their workouts and access or whatever. And one of them made a comment about the other being just a touch more, and it was this fun bit. Anyways, they started a production company. It's called A Touch More, and their tagline is a production company that centers stories of revolutionaries who move culture forward. And I just wanted to give a shout out to that, and I'm very excited to see what they do for that, because they're really upping the game on what it means to be in the public eye and what you can do with the power and influence you hold in that position.
I love it. We love it. We love it. And your second point that you wanted to raise.
My second point I wanted to raise is there was a bit of Rubik's Cube commentary in our notes and in the show, and I want to reiterate my stance that I disagree with how the show presents Rubik's Cubes as for smart people. I am pro dumb people reclaiming Rubik's Cubes. You don't have to be smart to solve a Rubik's Cube. It's not an intelligence thing. It's just a learning patterns thing, and anybody can learn patterns. I'm a dumbass, and I can solve at least 3 different types of Rubik's Cubes. It's just muscle memory, I promise you. So my agenda is stop saying the Rubik's Cubes are for smart people. They're not. We're taking them back. Rubik's Cubes, and I want a better name than the brand name for them, because I am pro off-brand Rubik's Cubes. Actual Rubik's brand Rubik's Cubes, not that great. I'll say it. But I want to reclaim them for the common people. They are not a smart people thing. And if you think that, this is your warning.
Well said. Well said. I think that's a great segue into doing our kind of rapid fire going through our notes from watching the show. Why don't we take what do you say, maybe 3 minutes and just do some rapid fire slays based on the notes we took while watching?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm prepared for that.
And
I also have some not a slays.
We'll
but that's
also
okay.
allow the not a slay. Just make sure you indicate so we can all reiterate with you what was a slay and what was not a slay. Marissa, would you like to start since I have the timer and my notes both on screen?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Marissa, you get us going.
Immediate bops from the second the show starts. Slay.
Slay, absolutely.
Electricity stealing lady, later named Aftershock. Slay.
Slay, absolutely. Cartoon restaurants and cartoon businesses have had a chokehold on me my entire life. I want to go to there. Slay.
Alexis and I both immediately writing blackout from In the Heights into our notes the second they say blackout for the first time. Slay.
Slay. Yeah. We love an influencer queen. Slay.
Slay. Yes. I'm gonna reiterate that, but I'm not raising my baby in Jersey. No offense to Jersey. The delivery of that line is such a slay.
Yes. Oh, where'd it go? No. Oh, this is not a slay. We are not doing kids don't know cassette tape culture.
That was going to be mine.
Not
Brilliant
a slay.
scientist doesn't know how to activate a cassette tape. Not a slay.
Not a slay. Cassettes are popular again. Billie Eilish brought them back. My brain is my superpower. I loved that. Slay.
Oh, Lunella talking herself both in and out of being a superhero is Liz Core. Slay.
Mm-hmm. Secret sanctum under the apartment. Slay.
Slay. I was distracted by, okay, I'm just gonna riff off of what y'all are saying. Miss Cassie, my PR queen. I felt very represented by her. She's a slay. Full slay.
Yeah. Aftershock in episode 1 was giving very Meredith Blake energy from The Parent Trap. Slay.
Oh yeah, big slay.
The message of ignoring people and dismissing people who say you're too much. Slay.
Slay. The comeback of "You're not a real blonde." Slay.
Yeah. In episode 2, #MoonGirlMagic. Slay.
Yay. Mine's also in the same sequence as Liz. I could never hurt a child, but I should at least try. Slay.
I missed that. The self-awareness of then we'll get canceled after one episode. Slay.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
This is in episode 3, Liz. Gay dads, gay Peloton dads. Slay.
Slay. Casey blocking Lunella out of the account in episode 2 equals Marissa whenever Liz posts TC memes on the group account. Slay.
Okay. I have one more. I am like, let's do one more each. And I'm gonna revisit that. We're gonna revisit that. The literal translation of the dinosaur's name being terrifying fire beast that will bring about the end of all things. I think that's also the literal translation of my name. Slay. As a triple fire sign, I felt seen. I felt represented.
Oh, go ahead.
My final note. Now this is Disney Channel. This is Disney Channel. Slay.
Slay. This is gonna be so niche and hyper specific. The sequence in episode 3 where she's doing all the things and then the like saturation starts to like get more monochrome and then like fluctuates. That whole sequence was just like we're eating visually. It's so pretty. Slay.
Slay, absolutely.
Also, sorry, I had one more.
No, please.
The growth of at the end of episode 3 finally learning how cassette tapes work. Slay.
Yeah.
We love growth.
We love a technologically educated queen. Yeah.
You know what's not a slay?
Hmm.
StreamYard not allowing me to update my name to Terrifying Fire Beast that will bring about the end of all things. Too many characters.
You could just go with Devil for short.
Yeah. But we agreed on Devil for short. So cute. That's another thing. The voice cast, so good. Love
I
it.
gotta be sure I did there. Terrifying Fire Beast that will bring about the end of all. Yeah, I didn't do it.
Yeah,
right.
you got it.
We got it. We did it. New name. We have Senator Slav Naboo. We have Terrifying Fire Beast that will bring about the end of all things. Producer Liz.
I have many names that I don't acknowledge. So
it's true. We'll work on
I'll
that.
just stick with Miss Abobista for now.
Now, to close our show, shall we fight about Timothy Chalamet?
Oh my god.
Listen, if y'all let me promote the show, y'all will get Timothy Chalamet memes. That is the producer Liz guarantee. So I don't know why it was such a surprise to see Timothy Chalamet on the show account after he delivered us a whole folder's worth of meme material.
I wouldn't say it was so much a surprise. It was more the fact that you openly acknowledged it.
I did, didn't I?
You brought this upon yourself.
It's me. I'm the problem. It's me and Timothy. Yeah, that's the new song. Listen, it's been such a great 2 hours being back with the team. That Swift Bridge level of acronym. Honestly, that makes it feel even more on brand, JJ. What are we looking forward to over the next week? There's a lot more to come.
Ooh.
Including award season is like going at rapid fire pace. So we've got a lot more coming on that end over the coming weeks on our show. We've got more Moon Girl and Double Dinosaur. We've got lots of shows coming down the pipeline that we are excited to dig into and talk about, but we're not going to reveal all of our secrets yet as we get things, prepped and ready and pitches sent and emails delivered, trying to get our shows underway and wrapped so we can reveal all to y'all. But if there's a show that you're watching that you do want us to talk about, as always, leave it in the comments and let us know so we can check it out and we can all talk about it together. But I'm glad that we got to share some of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur with you all, and hopefully you will go check it out. Ant-Man next week.
Mm-hmm.
Sly, you saw it already. Marissa, you've also seen it, haven't you?
No, I'm going literally right now after this.
Right now. Okay, so Marissa on her way to see Ant-Man. I don't think I'm seeing Ant-Man, and that's a conversation we're gonna have to have live next week because I'm mad about it. It's not even my rant of the week. It's like, this is gonna need a whole 3 minutes to break this down for y'all. But we'll have a conversation about Ant-Man next week. What else are we looking forward to over the next week, folks? Or over the next coming weeks? It's a whole new season for We'll Throw the After Party. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got?
What do we got?
You're in LA. You have some LA
LA
stories for us, perhaps?
Yeah. I'm going to see the latest Star Kid show. That's the whole reason I'm here. I'm going to see Nerdy Prudes Must Die on Sunday. Tomorrow. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah.
Love.
So exciting. So we'll get a review. We'll get a review
for sure.
of Star Kids. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm in the year 2023 and still talking about Star Kid as excitedly as I did like over a decade ago. That's I love that for me. I love a consistent brand. Sly, what's going on in your world?
I'm gonna sleep. That's gonna be something that I'm very much looking forward to. Catch up on all the things. Yeah, that's what I'm currently looking forward to.
You and me both, Sly. You and me both. So we will let Marissa go have all the adventures while we try and catch up on life. But you can catch up with all of us anytime at After Party Show on all the platforms, and at Producer Liz, at Ms. Bobissa, and at Sly Clone MC. And also you can catch Sly on Thursday, MC University, and Point in Progress. And did I get all of it? Did we do it?
Go check out my birth review, please.
Yes, you can find it linked on Sly's Twitter as well. So coming to you after the show, my Notes app apology will be live on Instagram once I tidy it up. I was trying to write it while I was saying it. I think I missed it after rewatch. Shout out again to all the replayers. Leave some comments. Let us know what you thought of this week's episode. And we didn't even start the show with our usual catchphrase. So Sly, Marissa, shall we end with it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Sly owns it, so.
Sly
owns it. Oh, that's good.
All right.
Sly?
Thank you for joining us. And we're here. We're queer. And we're throwing the After Party Season 2, baby!
Drink to that. Cheers, everybody. We will see you. I didn't have the banner ready. I was too busy celebrating. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.